In the vast tapestry of human history, few threads are as long, as vibrant, or as intricately woven as that of Iran. Here, on this ancient plateau, one of the world's oldest and most continuous major civilizations first took root. It is a land of stark contrasts, of windswept deserts and snow-capped peaks, a landscape that has shaped a people of remarkable resilience and creativity. For millennia, this has been a crucible of empires, a birthplace of ideas, and a crossroads where cultures have met, clashed, and merged, leaving an indelible mark on the story of our world. From the monumental decrees of Cyrus the Great etched in clay, to the whispered verses of its poets that still echo through time, Iran's legacy is one of profound influence. Its story is not a simple linear progression but a dramatic saga of soaring triumphs and devastating falls, of golden ages and periods of profound struggle. It is a history that has shaped not only the Middle East but the entire globe, through its innovations in governance, science, art, and philosophy. Today, we embark on a journey through time, a chronological exploration of this extraordinary land. We will uncover 10 powerful facts, 10 pivotal moments that have defined Iran's epic history. Each one is a chapter in a grand narrative, revealing the forces that have forged the nation we see today. We will witness the rise and fall of great dynasties, the arrival of new faiths, and the revolutions that have shaken its very foundations, to better understand the soul of a civilization that has endured for thousands of years. Our journey begins in the 6th century BCE. With Cyrus the Great, a visionary leader emerged. From Persis, he united Median and Persian tribes. He laid the foundations for the Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian empire. This colossal empire became the largest the world had yet seen. Cyrus is celebrated for his policies of tolerance and human rights, documented on the Cyrus cylinder. The legacy of this empire is etched into the stones of Susa and Persepolis. The Achaemenids introduced innovations like the royal road and standardized coinage. They created a model for empire building that would be admired for centuries. Every great empire eventually faces its ultimate test. For the Achaemenid dynasty, that test arrived in the 4th century BCE in the form of Alexander the Great. Alexander crossed the Hellespont in 334 BCE, setting in motion events that would alter history. The confrontation was a clash of titans between Alexander and Darius III. The battles at Granicus, Issus, and Gaugamela are legendary. Alexander's tactical genius shattered the Persian lines, leading to the collapse of Achaemenid power. The fall of Persepolis in 330 BCE marked the end of an era. With the conquest complete, a new cultural force began to permeate Persia: Hellenism. Greek culture blended with Persian traditions. Though Alexander's empire fractured, the Hellenistic influence endured, forever changing the region's identity. After the Seleucids and the Parthian Empire, Persian identity was poised for resurgence. In the 3rd century CE, Ardashir I established the Sassanid Empire, heirs to Cyrus and Darius. This was a new golden age. The Sasanian era was a period of cultural, scientific, and political revival. Zoroastrianism was elevated to the state religion. This religious revival went hand in hand with a flourishing of Persian art and architecture that would later influence Islamic art. The Sassanid military was a formidable force. Beyond the battlefield, the Sassanid Empire was a vibrant intellectual hub, nurturing the intellectual environment that would later fuel the Islamic Golden Age. The Sassanid and Byzantine Empire's wars had left both powers weakened. A new force erupted out of the Arabian Peninsula, unified by Islam. The Rashidun Caliphate launched invasions that altered Persia's destiny. The Sassanid Empire struggled to defend itself. The Sassanid armies were defeated and their last king assassinated. The Sassanid Empire was absorbed into the expanding Islamic Caliphate. Islam introduced a new religion, legal system, and language. Yet, the Persian spirit was not extinguished. The conquered began to culturally captivate their conquerors. Persian scholars became indispensable to the new Islamic caliphates, heavily influencing the Islamic Golden Age. The legacy of Persia would thrive, shaping the civilization that had subsumed it. For nearly 900 years following the Arab conquest, Persia was ruled by foreign dynasties. This changed in the 16th century with the rise of Ismail, head of the Safaviya. In 1501, he declared himself Shah of Iran, founding the Safavid dynasty and shaping modern Iranian identity. The Safavids established Twelver Shi'ism as the state religion, altering Iran's religious landscape and distinguishing it from its Sunni neighbors. Under Shah Abbas the Great, Iran experienced a cultural renaissance. He moved the capital to Isfahan, transforming it into a beautiful city. Its mosques and public squares stand as testaments to the era's artistic genius. This golden age cemented the link between Persian culture and its Shia identity. Following the decline of the Safavids, Iran entered a turbulent period, culminating in the rise of the Qajar dynasty. They established their capital in Tehran. The industrial and military might of European powers was rapidly expanding. The 19th century became an era of national humiliation for Iran. In disastrous wars with Russia, Iran lost vast territories. This period is referred to as the Great Game, with Iran caught in the middle. The Qajar Shahs granted extensive economic concessions to European powers. This foreign interference fostered resentment among the Iranian people. Protests and the constitutional revolution signaled a rising tide of Iranian nationalism. It established Iran's first parliament and constitution. The weakness and chaos of the late Qajar period created a power vacuum. Into this void stepped an ambitious and formidable military officer named Reza Khan. In 1921, he led a coup d'état, and by 1925 he had deposed the last Qajar Shah and crowned himself Reza Shah, founding the Pahlavi dynasty. Inspired by the secular, modernizing reforms of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk in neighboring Turkey, Reza Shah envisioned a new Iran, powerful, centralized, secular, and free from foreign domination. He embarked on an aggressive and sweeping program of top-down modernization aimed at transforming every aspect of Iranian society. His government invested heavily in industry, building factories, roads, and the landmark Trans-Iranian Railway, which connected the Caspian Sea to the Persian Gulf for the first time. He established a modern, European-style army to enforce the authority of the central government and suppress tribal autonomy, forging a unified nation-state from a collection of disparate regions. Reza Shah's reforms were also deeply cultural and social. He sought to replace religious and traditional identities with a new, secular nationalism rooted in Iran's pre-Islamic Persian heritage. He promoted the Persian language, Farsi, and changed the country's international name from Persia to Iran in 1935 to emphasize its Aryan roots. In a highly controversial move, he banned the wearing of traditional head coverings for women, like the chador, and mandated Western-style dress for men, aiming to physically embody the nation's break with the past. However, this rapid, forced modernization came at a high cost. Reza Shah's rule was authoritarian and often brutal. He crushed all political dissent, abolished the free press, and ruled with an iron fist. While his reforms laid the groundwork for a modern state and infrastructure, they also created deep social fissures. The secular elite and growing middle class often embraced the changes, but the devoutly religious segments of the population and the powerful clergy felt alienated and oppressed, creating a resentment that would simmer beneath the surface for decades to come. During World War II, Reza Shah was forced to abdicate. Afterwards, Mohammad Mossadegh rose to prominence, championing national sovereignty. As prime minister, he argued Iran's oil wealth should belong to its people, not foreign corporations. In 1951, Iran nationalized its oil industry. Britain, with waning power, turned to the United States, framing Mossadegh as a communist sympathizer. The CIA and Britain's MI6 then orchestrated a covert plan to overthrow Mossadegh's government. Mossadegh was arrested and the Shah was restored to power. This planted a legacy of anti-American sentiment with explosive consequences later on. Following the 1953 coup, the Shah consolidated his power, ruling as an absolute monarch. Bolstered by oil revenues and American support, he pushed his White Revolution, a program of modernization. This progress masked deep societal problems and brutal political repression by the Savak. From exile, Ayatollah Khomeini became the voice for widespread discontent. By the late 70s, resentment boiled over into a massive uprising. In January 1979, the Shah fled Iran. Khomeini returned triumphantly. The Islamist faction established a theocratic republic, abolishing the monarchy and marking a dramatic transformation. The birth of the Islamic Republic plunged Iran into conflict and international isolation. In 1980, Iraq invaded Iran, sparking an 8-year war with hundreds of thousands of casualties. Tensions with the West, particularly the United States, remain high due to Iran's nuclear program. Crippling economic sanctions have severely impacted ordinary Iranians. Modern Iran is a society of contradictions, a young, educated population with a vibrant culture within a restrictive political system. Protests demonstrate a demand for freedom and change. Today, Iran is a controversial player with influence across the Middle East, grappling with economic challenges and international pressure. It's a complex nation of ancient traditions and modern aspirations, navigating a turbulent world. We have journeyed through millennia, from the dawn of one of the world's first great empires to the complex realities of the modern Islamic Republic. We have seen how the land of Iran has been a stage for some of history's most dramatic events. The rise of benevolent kings and the fall of mighty dynasties. The clash of great armies and the quiet, persistent power of ideas. It is a story of remarkable continuity, where the echoes of Cyrus, the poetry of Hafez, and the legacy of the Safavids still resonate in the national soul. The 10 moments we have explored are but snapshots of a narrative that is vast and deeply layered. Each fact reveals a turning point, a moment that forged the nation's identity, setting it on a path that led to the next chapter. The resilience of its culture, its ability to absorb its conquerors, and its fierce defense of its sovereignty are recurring themes in this epic tale. Iran's history is not a simple relic of the past, it is a living force that actively shapes its present and informs its future. As we look at Iran today, we see a nation at another crossroads, wrestling with its identity, its place in the world, and the aspirations of its people. The story is far from complete. The same spirit of resistance, innovation, and cultural pride that has defined this land for thousands of years continues to drive its people forward into an uncertain but compelling future. From empires to revolutions, Iran's story isn't over, it's still being written.